Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 5 of the series Mindful Parenting. Today, we're going to be talking all about teenagers, and I know that many people out there will be particularly interested in this part. As even for myself, I really enjoyed speaking to my own daughter, who is 15, and also I spoke to some of her friends, asking them, all the different things that really mattered to them at this time of life and what it's like to actually be a teenager. So if you're interested in finding out more, you're in the right place, and we're going to get straight into it. Now, teenagers, when they start to go into secondary school, usually it's about the age of 12 to 13 here in Ireland, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same across the world. But it's a very difficult time. It's completely different to when we spoke about when they start primary school, because when they go into primary school, they're really going into the unknown, and they have had the connection with you, their parents, guiding them the whole way through, and you've been with them on the first morning. You've probably spent time with your child and introduced them to the school. They probably knew where they were going, and not only that, they're very excited to make friends. They're more open, and I think as they start to grow and they start to realize that they don't fit into certain crowds, and then when they finally get to the stage where they have to integrate to a new school, and they know it's an important time, and they've also just kind of turning to become a teenager, which is also not the easiest transition, for young people, because it's filled with hormones, and also they're going to get more responsibility in school. And from the moment really they go into first year here in Ireland, they start to speak about the upcoming exams, we'll say, for year 3. So it's a real time of change for them, and they're trying to fit in as well with everybody else in the school. And usually secondary schools or high school in many countries is a bigger school also, and you have many different personalities and backgrounds. So we always have to be very mindful of that our child is going to be taking on a whole new experience. So it's very important that we spend time, as I've said before on the previous video, through the school years, that we spend time connecting with our teen and keep this connection maintained, more so over attention. Of course, we're going to be spending a lot of attention on all the different new subjects that they're going to incorporate into their school routines, and also they're going to be making new friends. All these things are quite natural. Now as well, I have a daughter myself, but I'm sure it's the same if you have a son. It's also the time between, we'll say, 14 to 15 where they are going to start starting to have interest in the opposite sex. They're going to start socializing with girls and boys. They're going to be starting out new relationships, and this is really a pivotal time also, because children, and teens, they really do mirror the people around them. So whoever their closest friends are, and also the parents, they see the relationship first of what their parents have, and they kind of really learn from us. So when they go out into the school world, as in the secondary school or high school, they're really watching everybody around them, how they're dating and what's going on. And we have to be honest now, it's a completely different world to when it was when we went into secondary school. We really didn't have all the pressures that the teenagers have today. I mean, I know for instance, my own daughter, she spoke about that really everything is out in the open. There is no kind of sacred moments like there would have been for the parents of this generation, we will say. Everything is photographed, everything is videoed. So we'll say if a teen is in a situation where they're at a teen disco or they're at a social event where there's many teenagers, and this event is somewhere where they're meeting boys or meeting girls, and maybe they have a kiss or they're planning to meet up again, there's always someone there with a phone or with a camera that sometimes captures these moments. So I think teens these days, they have a lot of stress in the fact that they're constantly self-conscious, of how they're looking, how they're being perceived on social media. I know for my own daughter, she said that when she first met her boyfriend, she's with him now over a year, you know. And she said when she first met him that they started out to be friends. They'd known each other prior to actually starting to go out, we'll say. And of course then social media had a big part of it as well, so they would be constantly on Snapchat together. I think also Instagram. And you know, so everything you're doing all the time, you know, is there on Snapchat. And I also asked her, how important is it to get the correct picture on Snapchat? She told me that sometimes it can take 30 different pictures before they will put a picture up on their story. I was so amazed, you know, this was something that really stood out in my mind. I have to be totally honest. Facebook is as far as I've carried social media on my journey, and I really don't spend a whole lot of time on there. I would be the type of person where I would upload my videos to Facebook and I follow people that I'm interested in, also family and friends. But I never realised how much of an influence Instagram and Snapchat have on the teenagers today, you know. And my daughter, she was telling me that basically, you know, everything is there on Snapchat, you know what I mean? If you do something, you know, that's going to get the attention of somebody to click into your photo or to click into your story, you know, that basically everything is clickbait, you know. So even, see, at this age as well, we have to remember that teenagers are, you know, they're not really thinking, you know, if they put something on social media, they're not thinking of the effects afterwards. So I think it's really important as parents to be very mindful and to have these conversations with our teenagers before they go into secondary school and high school. And I remember having this conversation with Ivana because I remember on Facebook many years ago I had seen a video going around of a young girl who was very vulnerable, you know, and she'd started dating, and she was basically telling her story, what had happened, you know, and she had basically taken a photo of herself that she thought nobody else would have seen except for the boy she was sending it to. So obviously we can gather that it was probably something inappropriate, you know, but for her it was something sacred, and she really was vulnerable and she didn't probably think about the consequences. So I remember when I saw this video floating around Facebook, it really made me aware, you know, how powerful social media is to promote people and to share amazing content and to share amazing points of our life, but also how damaging it can be if we're not aware. And especially for teenagers, you know, if they're not aware that everything they put up there can either promote them as a human being or demote them, you know. And really, you know, the thing is, if a picture is worthy, it can go viral in a matter of hours, you know. And especially, unfortunately, it's usually the videos or the pictures that you know, have some kind of clickbait in it that is inappropriate, and really nobody is thinking about the child that was behind that scene, you know. And at the end of the day, even if they are a teenager, 13, 14 or 15, they're still very young, you know, and they're still just making mistakes and learning and going through life. So as a parent, I've had great connection, as I've said, with my daughter, and I still have, and I'm, you know, grateful that I have that with her, that I'm able to speak to her about everything. We spoke about everything, and even down to hormones, down to menstrual cycles. As I say, it is the daughter that I have myself. Everything is open for discussion, you know, and she knows that no matter what happens or what mistakes that she makes, that she can always come to me and speak about it openly. And I think this is very important, to really, concentrate on your connection with your teen over attention. You know, I've spoke a lot about that on my previous video, and I will be putting links to all the videos that I've made previously in the description below. But anyway, after speaking to my daughter, she also was explaining to me that body image is something that young people and teenagers are very conscious about. Now, as an adult, this is something that, you know, I think has always been there, but now more than ever, because as I say, everything is on social media. I mean, they're constantly taking selfies and they're constantly uploading to Snapchat, you know. So really, you know, they're very conscious about how they look, and hence why there is so much emphasis on plastic surgeries, or we'll say makeup and, you know, body image. Everything has a solution, basically. These days, there's a solution for every little imperfection out there, you know. And I think teenagers are highly aware of that. They're not so focused on their beautiful areas, you know, of their body or their face. They're more focused on how to find a solution to fix their imperfections. And this really worries me as a parent, you know, and not just as a parent, but as a human being, you know, that people are so focused on their imperfections. Now, as I've said, this is not something new, you know. I think we've all experienced some type of, you know, feeling ourselves throughout our teens, you know, that something was imperfect or that we can improve something. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's down to just constantly searching and watching people all the time for the solutions to be able to fix our imperfections, it really spells out to me that that teenagers really need to work more on themselves, as in their own mindset and their own confidence and self-esteem, self-worth also. So this is where us as parents or as teachers or as role models, you know, even down to celebrities, should really be more aware and more mindful. You know, I know it's fantastic that we can find solutions for every little imperfection that we have, and I'm not pro or against any of it, but what I am saying, that if it's making somebody self-conscious or their self-esteem is suffering because of it, then it is an issue. And I really do believe that you know, the teenagers, you know, they're all very beautiful. They haven't really fully grown either into young men or to young women yet. They're still growing, you know, and if they're already worrying about the size of their butts or the size of their breasts at the age of 14 or 15 or 13, it's very scary, you know, because they're trying to become something that they haven't even fully developed yet, you know. So it's very important that we discuss this with our teenagers, that when they see pictures of celebrities or they see pictures of people they're following on social media, that there may be a little bit of editing involved, or there may be a little bit of Photoshop involved. And let's face it, every phone that you have today, every camera that you have today, their editing systems are everywhere. So everybody looks better than they actually are in every photo. This is completely normal to see it on Facebook, on Snapchat, and myself included. You know, we all can apply a filter if we want to. So, you know, getting caught up in that, you know, and actually believing everything we see, you know, is the first thing to always start your teenager questioning, you know, life and social media, to know that everybody is just putting their best selves forward, and there is nothing wrong with that. But if it becomes an obsession, you know, and it's taking time, like taking 30 photos to get the perfect photo, then really we need to speak about this more, I think. So also for teenagers, I think it's highly important that they, you know, they realize that they need to have downtime. They need to be able to switch off the phone. This is something I'm constantly speaking with about with my daughter, you know, that she needs to be able to, when she's doing her studies, phone needs to be off. You know, at dinner time, phone needs to be off. You know, and just like every other teenager, it's not easy to be able to separate the teen from the phone, you know. It really has become a part of the body. It's like the phone is actually literally a part of the hand. That's the way I feel about it anyway. And I'm sure if there's any other parents out there, they'll totally agree. But I think the more you speak to them and the more you connect with them, and the more you not really make a big deal about it, maybe make it more fun, you know, laugh about it, you know, that these days I'm starting to notice that the phone is everywhere with you. It's almost that it's become a part of your body, you know, little jokes like that, and just saying that, you know, it's, you know, you need time as well for your mind to slow down. Now, my daughter is very aware that I practice meditation and I practice mindfulness. She's also very aware that I'm a vegetarian, I like organic food, you know, but I never tried to force her to do any of these topics. But what I have noticed is kids are still going to learn a lot from you, even whether you're not, whether you're deliberately doing it or not, you know. And So I know for a fact that my daughter realizes the importance of slowing down. Even like myself, I love to take a bath and just literally go in there with no sound, nothing, just to relax. And it's like my moment to just rejuvenate. I use my time wisely, even down to bathing. And I've found lately that my daughter, instead of stepping into the shower for a quick shower before she's to head out the door, she will make a ritual also of winding down. So it really says to me that teens are in need to be told, that it's okay to relax, to not worry about the perfect picture, to not worry about fitting in to society or into the box, to really have self-worth. And when I was speaking with my daughter 2 evenings ago, I was speaking to her and her friend. I was asking them, who are your role models? Who do you look up to? Is there somebody on social media that you would love to be like when you get older? Her friend was saying that she'd love to be like the Kardashians. And my daughter, she was saying that she really loved Beyonce, So I was like, girls, that's amazing, What is it about Beyonce that you really like, And what is it about the Kardashians? And it went back to the same things, how they looked and their personalities and all the different things that make up the Kardashians and Beyonce. But I was also questioning the fact, okay, now if you because both of them have boyfriends, and I said, when you were introduced to your boyfriend, what were the things that really stuck out about him, and the two of them gave all the different reasons, and it was nothing about really appearance, because my daughter had met her boyfriend, she'd known him for a while, and even though he's a very handsome young guy, but it wasn't that, it was actually his personality. And so I started to flip that, and I said, so what is it you think that your boyfriend liked in you? And they both gave the same answer. I think it was the way we looked, and this really scared me, because I said, no, because listen, you've just told me that it was the personality that really was the main thing that's keeping you and your boyfriend together. He's such a nice guy. He makes an effort with you. All the different criteria that it makes up to make a great relationship. And yes, you're thinking it's how you look is what is attracting. Of course, first of all, everybody is going to have attraction, but what keeps a relationship going and what builds a friendship and trust is personality and self-worth and confidence. And when I said this to the two of them, they really took it in, and then they started to change what they were saying, and they even changed their answers, so I think it's very important. And even though I'm very mindful of this, and I'm always telling my daughter how great she looks, but more importantly, what an amazing human being she is, all the amazing things that she's accomplished so far, in her years, that she's worked very hard. In secondary school, she's made wonderful friends in primary and in secondary school, how well she looked doing all her dancing, when she does her ballet, all the hard work that she put in, and it paid off, and she looked absolutely amazing on the stage. But her performance was absolutely breathtaking for me, and how proud I was of her. And I think this is so important, is to not just base it on how they look, that we have to really get deep into them in such a way that they become aware of themselves, how important they are as human beings, not just on the exterior, but in the internal, in the interior also. And for myself, I'm very aware of this because I did study beauty therapy, and I am a lady that loves self-care, which I've always been open about on this channel, and I love makeup because I see it as a sense of expression. I always have. And I say the same to my daughter, makeup is there, of course, to correct and to help us to look our best, but also it's a sense of expression, and always remember that you are beautiful with makeup or without makeup. And what I have noticed is that she does embrace going to school without any makeup at all. She'll meet her friends without any makeup, and she totally is more relaxed in her own skin. And I think this is so important, to actually help our teens to know that it's okay to be comfortable in your own skin. You do not have to worry about what people are thinking of you. It's more important on what you think of yourself. Are you happy? Now also, there is a lot of pressure bullying as well on social media. I'm very aware of this because my daughter has spoke to me about it, that it does happen. And it can get really out of hand because, as they say, somebody behind behind the keyboard or behind the phone you're not actually with the person one-on-one. So it's very easy for them to type something that's very mean and that can be very distressful for the person on the other side. And let's be honest about it here. It is not nice if we see our teen upset, or hopefully that our teen is talking to us, that we have a good enough connection that they're actually telling us what's going on. So this is what I'm saying. It's very important that parents and teachers and caregivers are very aware of what the good sides and the bad sides of social media. But not only that they have a good connection with their teenagers to be able to talk about everything, down to relationships, friendships, when things go wrong, when things go right, and especially if there's something like bullying going on, because it can really damage a young person's self-esteem, and it can really make them feel unworthy. And the thing is, it's not like if somebody comes up to you in school and they say something where you have the present moment to be able to respond, and there's other people around that can actually see it also. No, it's very different, when somebody's doing this behind a screen and they're using a keyboard, or their phone to say bad things to you. You could be in your room, the teenager could be in their room, they could be anywhere on their own, and they're left with that thought and that comment for the whole evening, and really it can affect everything, for their whole day. So we really need to be mindful of that, I think personally. So this is something I've always been very clear about to my daughter, is that never ever take anything personal on social media, because people can be very brave behind the phone or behind the keyboard, but actually when you meet them in real life, it's a different story, because you have the chance to respond, and look them in the eye. People are not as brave when you stand in front of them and actually respond, and say whatever it is you need to say. You know what I mean? So I think we all have to be very mindful of that, and this is something that we need to really speak to our teenagers about, and to be also mindful of what they're saying on other people's chats or Snapchats or Instagram, that they also have to realise that they have to think before they type, because it can be a very stressful time for teens. Now, so what we've learned today is that social media can be a great thing, can also be a bad thing. So it's very important that we keep our communication open, and that we talk about everything down to relationships. And of course, as your teen is getting older, when they do start forming relationships, this is also a very important time to be able to explain everything, that what's the norm and what's not, because if they are experiencing the first relationship, they're going to be making mistakes, they're going to be just learning as they go. And as parents, if we have a good enough connection with them and we know that we can trust our teen, that basically, they need to be able to trust themselves also. And we need to really support them in being able to flow into teenage years and to be able to enjoy them, more importantly. Because really, if we think back, the teenage years were probably the best years of our lives, and I want that experience also for my child, and all the relationships that she forms, all the experience that she has. I always want her to be able to look back and to be able to smile and say what great experiences there were. And also I always say to my teen that this is a time as well where this is a pivotal time where in the teenage years is where they're more prone to taking risks, and I know here in Ireland there's a lot of drug use, alcohol use, like any other country. Not every student is doing it, or every teen, but it is there and it's very available if they are interested in it. So I've also had all these talks with my daughter well prior to going into secondary school, that these are the things that may happen. You may be approached, or you may be in a social setting where you're going to feel pressured to maybe drink or to do something that that doesn't resonate with you, to always be able to have the self-worth and the self-confidence that no matter how uncomfortable you're feeling in that situation, if you are not resonating with it, to be able to say no. And I think this is also something that as parents, as caregivers, as teachers, that we need to be able to be very clear and to have great clarity in speaking to our teens about the power of saying no, and to be able to stand on your own ground and not feeling pressured or put down by other people if you're not just joining in on the drinking or the drug use or whatever is going on. Now, in saying that, they're going to come into a situation where they are going to see it, or they're going to be in a situation where it's maybe offered to them, and hopefully if you have good communication with your teenager, that they will be able to talk to you about that after, when they're comfortable. They may not say it to you straight away, but there may be a point where they will bring it up if they're feeling pressured or they're having a problem with it. But usually what I will say is that if you know your teen's friends, you know your teen's boyfriend, and you know that they're good people and you're happy and your child is happy, more importantly, then really I wouldn't worry about it. I really do trust my daughter, and even if she made a mistake, as I've said before, I wouldn't judge her on it. Of course, I don't want her making any mistakes that's going to affect her life or her health, but at the same time I want her to know that I have full trust in her, and that I know that she is going to make mistakes, and that it's quite okay, because every mistake helps us to grow and to learn. But I think, yes, we have to be very mindful that there are going to be situations that they're going to be in which are not going to be comfortable for them. And this is the pivotal point where they need to be able to take responsibility for themselves as a teenager and be able to say that powerful word, no. So I think that's it really. For me, I think that once you have a good connection with your teen, and this is what has really got me through, and I remember when Ivana started secondary school, she really didn't know many people, in the school. So she went in there really on off her back, you know what I mean? She didn't have much support, as in girls from her class going in there. I think there was one girl from her class that went to the same school as her. So she really went in there with a clean slate, we'll say. And I remember the first year when she was transitioning, she was coming home with top marks all the time because she was very conscious of doing well. And I think we also need to discuss this just before I go. And you will see that the grades will tend to not dramatically drop, but they'll probably slip a little bit as they progress in the year, because they are going to be starting to make friends, and the social media is going to be coming in a lot more. So you really have to be mindful of that, and to be able to have open discussions, that, there's a time for social media. Of course, we can't just take it away from them, because this is the way the world is today, that there is social media. This is how they connect with their friends. This is how they actually decide to meet up. It's completely different to it was when we were growing up. So we really need to be more compassionate with our teenagers. We really have to look at it in a different angle. We can't judge it on our own experiences. Yes, some we can, between relationships or mistakes that we've made that we can share with our child. I really think that it's important as well as parents, if there were things that you had, life lessons, that you share that with your child, connect with them on that level, that you too have made mistakes and that it's okay and that you came out of them. It's so important to show your vulnerability as well to your child, so that they know that it's okay to be vulnerable with you. And if they have made a mistake, that they're comfortable enough to share that with you. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this topic today and it helped you. And if you have any information that you'd like to add to this video, please drop it in the comments below. I'd be only too happy to hear from you. And I wanted to get this video up on Friday, but the truth of the matter was that I got a present of a new camera, and I'm so happy. So this is... I've been trying to use it. I don't know if I got if it's going to turn out good. I don't know. I'm still learning how to use it properly. So if you were missing me on Friday, that's what happened. I got a beautiful surprise from my husband, because he knows that I want to do more editing and I want to get better quality videos. He surprised me with this lovely phone, and I'm delighted with it. So I'm hoping that the quality is a little bit better, and I have a mic for it as well. So I must set all that up. But anyway, guys, that was just some tips for me on teens, and I hope that it's helpful to some moms and dads out there. And again, of course, practicing meditation, practicing mindfulness, more importantly, is really important. All the different things that I've spoke about in the last 4 videos prior to this one was all about learning to listen, you know, to listen without judgment, you know, and listening to understand. This is so important. And also to nourish your teen, to nourish the child, to nourish the baby, as in to always promote whatever they love, you know, and speak to them about it and learn about it, and, you know, just be the best that you can be for them, and then they will be the same. You know, if they see you making an effort with them, then they're going to do the same for themselves, you know. And this is the most important thing. The most important thing is that we have confident young teenagers that have self-worth and that are able to make the correct decisions for themselves. And as I say as well, this is a time where you know, teens can take risks, you know, and so try and promote them to take the positive risks. If there's something they want to try, if there's a little mini course that they want to do, something that brings out their self-expression, you know, this is really the time to really go in on that and to promote whatever it is that they love, you know, and by taking risks in that way to promote their own self-worth, their confidence. So guys, I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm excited to be able to watch this back and see what the quality was like of this video. And please let me know as well if the quality is better in this, and what you think. So I'm still learning, as I said, but anyway, I'm excited to learn more and to share more videos with you. So hopefully I'll be back tomorrow with something else, because I'm so excited using this. And I'm going to go for now, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.